Welcome back, everybody. The History Guy here. This is episode 2, playing as the modern day, mostly modern day, nation of Germany. It is March of 2001, so that's why I say mostly modern day. We're getting close to modern day. I've gone ahead and started some exercises for my troops, so I can start building up some army experience. Of course, it's going to mean that it takes a little bit longer to get things into the field, and I also have to start producing some things that I otherwise might not need, like anti-tank, light mechanized and motorized. So just enough to kind of replace, because you suffer losses when you are doing training, because you're using equipment. Which one did I forget? Motorized. Which I don't even... Oh, there we go. All right. So we're not actually producing any of those things, but I'll need to replace the ones that I lose here and there as things go along. So I've got to free up a few factories for that. I'm up to 19 military factories now. Very few dockyards, but honestly, Navy is about the last thing that's on my mind right now. I'm not really concerned about that. But let's just kind of take a look and review where things stand. We are working on Kaiser which is going to be our next huge step towards bringing back the monarchy. We're up to 32, almost 33% popularity for the Hohenzollern family, which is the royal family of the German Empire. Also, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this decision here, which gives me a base stability boost of 2 and adds a civilian factory, which doesn't seem like much, but every little bit helps. And construction-wise, we're going to be switching over to building a few more civilian factories after this next military factory is complete. And research-wise, we're about a week away from, I believe these are my next level of mechanized, maybe motorized, but I'll update the production of those when the time comes, and then we just have about 3 weeks to go until the next step toward monarchy. All right, there's Kaiser. Let's go ahead and take a look at where this puts us now as far as moving toward monarchy. Obviously, Hohenzollern now support is at 36% just about, and the daily change is at looks like plus 11. So it's going to keep going up about every 10 days another percent. So I think by the time we get to elections in September, I mean, they're already by far the most popular party. They might even have a majority at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and switch for just a little while over toward economic focus, because before I even think about expansion, and there's a couple of different options as far as which way I go, I'm leaning toward... While I really want the monarchy, I'm leaning toward the tree that's going to allow me to expand this way, maybe to deal with some non-NATO powers, which would be preferable to go into war with NATO, which would include the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and a whole bunch of other countries that I really have no chance of standing up against. So you can see almost all the way up to 32 or 37% already, so that's happening quickly. I like that a lot. And about 13 days away from getting the Generation 4 bombers. And we've got another military factory completed. So we'll just kind of apply those as necessary just to make sure everything's going smoothly. I only have 4 army experience. I don't have enough units in the field to really generate more experience yet. So I don't have the equipment to even get them into the field. I need main battle tanks to go a little faster, and I'm not even producing any mechanized to get those in the field. So I've got to focus on those things a little bit. All right, so a couple of things getting finished here. I just finished up upgrading the light mechanized. So just little upgrades here and there where it's easy to spend research points without going too crazy. I think we're good there. So I also started researching Field Hospital 2, and I'm going to actually work on some other support battalions as well. Those will be some good things to add once I have the military experience points to add those things to all my various units. They're going to take a while to research, but it's one of those little things that will help moving forward. I'm just going to double check my trade here for just a minute. Yeah, see, I'm actually trading a little more for a little more than I need to there. I've got lots of steel able to be produced. So economic focus is almost done. And then we can start working down this tree that's going to allow me to quickly add some factories. And that'll just exponentially kind of improve things. And there's some places I can add infrastructure as well. And it looks like we just finished that up. Alright, so we're going to go revive the Ruhr, which was historically the place that that was over in this area right here. And that was the area during World War II that was kind of the main focus. That was the industrial heartland of Germany. A lot of bombing happened there. In the wake of World War I, when Germany's economy completely tanked and they owed reparations to the Allies, the French actually occupied the Ruhr for a while. Because they weren't getting the payments that they deserved, or that they felt they deserved. So it's an important area. We're going to revive that. It's going to add 2 civilian factories and a military factory. That's going to quickly kind of jumpstart my economy a little bit. So just looking through some choices here, and I think I'm going to choose the Army Drill Specialist, which is going to reduce my division training time by 5%. There's the September 11th attacks. 19 hijackers attacked and captured 4 different planes in the morning of September 11th. At 8:46 a.m., the American Airlines Flight 11 flew into the North Tower, the World Trade Center in New York City at 9:03. United Airlines White 75 followed suit, crashing into the South Tower at 9:37 a.m. American Airlines 77 crashed into the Pentagon, and then finally United Flight 93, which was hijacked right over top of my house here in Northeast Ohio. So, the humanity, definitely huge world-impacting event there. And if you're an American, you remember there was a lot of unity in the aftermath of that for at least a little while. Politically, something we definitely sorely miss. American National Prayer Service, all very memorable events to those of us who lived through them. And in the wake of September 11th attacks, so there's a lot going on over in the United States. None of it really affects us too much because we're not an ally of the U.S. anymore, not part of NATO. We're getting ready to revive the Ruhr. Then we got to kind of decide between civilian and military buildup. And then the anthrax attacks. And then I believe, I don't know if this will show, but there was also a plane crash a month later near New York City, but it was not terror-related in any way. All right, we're going to keep mobile warfare doctrine going. The war on terror. So George W. Bush is getting ready to move on Afghanistan. I think we'll go at least at first. I'm going to go civilian. I'll probably kind of alternate back and forth between the two. But we'll go civilian first. Wait, what? Who did Russia go to war with? Chechnya. Oh, okay. I was really worried that like a huge war just broke out. But it's just Russia declaring war on Chechnya, which is right down here. And that'll be over in like a week, if that. Okay, so 2 days. Chechnya has capitulated. And everyone will now act as though nothing ever happened. Except we have 1% world tension because of it all. So, not a lot going on there. Let's kind of take a look at some things. Just want to make sure all the production is as it should be. Motorized is kind of caught up finally. So we can switch that over now. Up to 21 military factories, which still really is very few for a nation like Germany that I would think would have way more industrial might than that. But you can see we do have elections coming up here. I think should be right now. No, it's another year away. It's September of 2002. And obviously the monarchists are going to be well into a majority by that point. So we're clearly going to have the monarchists in power at that point without even having to do anything else with national focus. So a coup in revolutionary Nepal. A lot of little things happening. That's over here, Nepal, down here. Obviously, all eyes are really going to be on Afghanistan, where the U.S. is very soon going to be launching a war, I would imagine. So we'll come back when that happens. All right, so just as I'm about to kind of work on queuing up some more construction, we've got a major fascist rally happening in our country, which is not something we want to encourage. Foreigners have destroyed our country and are corrupting our race. They are raping our women and taking our jobs. If we don't stop them here, our nation will forever perish. It's time to crusade against the inferior races. Definitely echoes of 1920s, 1930s Germany. And we... All right, moving on. This movement is... No, we're not going to support it, so we're just going to move on from that. So let's see how that kind of affects things. That actually kind of caused a little bit of a hit to Hohenzollern, which is now just under 48%, but still improving ever so slightly. Still by far the majority party, though it looks like Social Democrats are at 17%. And I'm not sure which is the fascist party here. We've got an Islamist party. Here we go. Fascists are at about 5%. So really nothing to worry about too much right now. I'm going to look at some more political advisors and what they might have to offer me, and I might decide on one of those. So I think I'm going to go with Wolfgang Schäuble here. He's a captain of industry. It's going to drift toward conservatism a little bit, but primarily I want to get that civilian factory construction speed bonus that he offers. And I'm kind of surprised that we haven't gotten any notification right now about the U.S. doing anything where Afghanistan's concerned, because historically that happened in October, so I'm sure he would have had that event triggered by now. Alright, this is going to allow me to build tungsten and chromium factories, which would be nice. The more I can be self-sufficient, the better. I don't know what the U.S. is up to over here. Let's take a look at them real quick. Major social democratic rally, so change in popularity of the Social Democrats. So all these things are kind of hitting just as I was getting that Hohenzollern party up into a position of greater power. So their popularity just took another hit. So I might need to do something to kind of build them up a little bit. I might have to go back over here and look again at going down this route. If I go the new Wilhelm, though, here's what I'm worried about. I kind of want to be able to get this extra research slot. And also there's some interesting choices here where I can kind of get an annex goal, a war goal against Russia, which I don't want to do right now, but also Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, Estonia, the White Lithuanian Empire, and Latvia. But likewise, I could do Prussian glory, which gains cores on some of those former territories that were part of Prussia. So I've got some decisions to do about that. I've also got all kinds of foreign ministry things I can do here. So there's really just a ton of options that I'll have to kind of think through. Military reform as well. So just some decisions to be made. Intercontinental politics, European politics, befriending France, befriending Russia. Really not sure what I want to do with all of that yet. Alright, so there's civilian buildup. That gets me one extra civilian factory and also an extra building slot, which building slots aren't really an issue for me right now, but who knows that they might not be at some point down the future. So let's go ahead and go to military buildup now and do the same thing there. Gain an extra military factory real quick. Still surprised nothing happening with the U.S. concerning Afghanistan. I'm going to go ahead and rush these units into the field, even though they're not given everything they need yet. That gives me some more units that'll be doing the military exercises. That's up to 20 now, so let's actually go ahead and take a look at Panzer Brigades. They've got anti-air, engineer, and support artillery already. We're going to go ahead and add a field hospital, I think. Yeah. So that'll use 10 of those points, and I'll do the same with... so I've got Fallschirm divisions. Fallschirmjägers, of course, were parachute troops. But let's go ahead and take a look at the infantry. They've already got field hospitals, so that actually... they're already built nicely, so that's good. I'm already just upgrading those. I think I'll go ahead and start training at least a couple of infantry brigades to get them in the field as well. And of course that's going to mean kind of reviewing my production. Man, I definitely need to be focusing on getting mechanized into the field a lot quicker. We're good on light tanks. Going to need more main battle tanks. But otherwise, everything else is pretty good. Just need more factories. United Communities of Belgium leaves the European Union. Interesting. So the dominoes continue to fall. Will we see a Brexit at some point? Let's see what Britain's up to. Still under Tony Blair. They're working on special treatment, which I'm not entirely sure what that is, but let's take a look and see. Right here. So that's a focus on Austria, Denmark, and Finland. So there's Brexit right here. They could do the Brexit referendum at some point here fairly soon if they want to. Be curious to see if that happens. Alright, so on January 1st, 2002, several great European currencies came to an end when they were all replaced by a common continental supercurrency, simply called the euro. The new European Union currency is already viewed as the second most important currency, only beaten by the US dollar. So, it's hard to imagine that there was once a time when the euro, you had the German marks, French francs, etc. Obviously all replaced by the euro. UK didn't do that, of course, but it's hard to believe that's been 16 years now since that happened. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put Angela Merkel in as one of our political advisors, which is going to give a 10% stability boost, get us up to 83%. And that stability boost kind of improves factory output, dockyard output, political power gain. So all around, just kind of improvement in the overall condition of everything. Let's go ahead and take a look here. I guess we'll go with decryption. And I want to look too at construction because I believe now, I can build chromium factories, tungsten factories, aluminum factories. What does my trade situation look like? What am I trading for? So I can actually cancel some of my rubber import. But production-wise, I'm at a negative on a lot of those things actually. So what are we trading for? We're importing a lot of oil, rubber, tungsten, and chromium. So that's a good place to start then. We'll start with tungsten and chromium factories. So the more I can import, the less I've got to rely on other people. Always a bonus. So we're into February now of 2002. I'm actually going to queue up 2 of each of those things. I don't know how long they take to produce. So it takes 6,400. And comparing that to, it's basically like building a military or a civilian factory, same kind of deal. Actually, civilian factories take more. All right. So just looking ahead here, nothing happening anytime soon as far as research is concerned. Everything's kind of far off. Military buildup's about complete, though. So we'll stick around long enough to make a decision about where to go from there. The Salt Lake City Olympics. Just one of those kind of context stories. It doesn't really affect the game at all. Just kind of lets you know what was going on in the world at that time. And the game kind of lags a little bit the more you go along. This is I've mentioned this before, but the modern day mod definitely is heavy on your computer. It's pretty heavy for resource consumption, so it does move along kind of slow. Alright, so these two are mutually exclusive, so basically once I choose one, I'm kind of locked in. So we're going to go military. Wow, and just like that, another domino has fallen. The Greek Republic has left the European Union. So you can see now that slowly but surely NATO and the European Union are losing members, which is kind of interesting to see what that means for Europe moving forward. Hopefully I can kind of take leadership of that as one of the largest countries in Europe. So as we get into the end of March of 2002, and we're still several months away from the election, the popularity of the monarchists is starting to drift downward, and Angela Merkel's Conservative Party is actually gaining steam. So I think I may have inadvertently caused that by putting her into a position of power in the political advisor world here. So I've got to look now and see if there are any I think I already have the monarchist in there. I do. So unfortunately, short of removing her, there's not a lot I can do about this. I mean, there's still obviously the most strong political force in my country, but I don't know. So here's one I can add weekly stability, but also drifts toward all of these different ones, except for monarchy, it looks like. So I don't know that I want to go that route either. Some decisions I've got to make here about what I want to do. I really wanted to have that above 50%. All right, so here's military construction, military factory construction speed increase. So that'll help, especially since I'm going the route of military buildup. The nice thing is manpower isn't affected too much so far. Just looking over a few things here. Make sure I'm still making best use of everything I've got, and I am. All right. Decryption algorithms complete. We're not quite there yet on atomic research, but that's going to be coming. And then I think I may shift away from military buildup for the time being, just because I want to start looking at some things I can do where foreign policy is concerned to shake things up a little bit. Or, you know what? I think it's time. Let's go with the new Wilhelm. We're getting close to election time. I want to make sure that I solidly have the monarchists in power. Now, this is interesting. There's a coup in Ukraine. So let's take a look now and see. This is May of 2002. So it looks like, yeah, they've gone communist. That's interesting. They are now Ukraine, Soviet Socialist Republic. So the domino falls in Ukraine where they have now... And what is this little piece of something right here? Little country, Transnistrian Republic. All right, cool. All right, we've got a new Panzer Division. We'll just go ahead and get them in the garrison duty with everybody else. I have started... Field Hospital is almost done. I started going down Mobile Warfare Doctrine down Blitzkrieg since I'm primarily going to be focused on Panzer divisions in my armed forces. Going to upgrade our field hospitals here in a minute. And we're about halfway to the new Wilhelm. Wilhelm, I want to say that properly for all my German friends out there. Yeah, we're not quite there yet. We'll go ahead and keep upgrading some other things. What happened here? The Empire of the Dutch leaves the European Union. Interesting. Another country. So I feel like maybe I started something with causing folks to leave the EU. Now we've got a coup in Iraq. Wow. So the world is diverging from historic decision making at this point. There's the FIFA World Cup. So let's take a look. Wow. Okay, so it looks like we've got an Islamic Republic in Iraq now. Muqtada al-Sadr. So it'd be kind of interesting to see what that means moving forward. So this is kind of interesting, and I didn't notice it before. It's June of 2002 now. This is not the Czech Republic now. This is the Czech Kingdom. They are monarchists there. And here we go. We've got new Wilhelm. A British trade delegation has arrived in our capital. This will only increase our economic ties to the United Kingdom. That's totally cool. We're going to improve our trade relations with the UK. I like it. I'm totally fine with that. Prussian glory. Here we go. So this is definitely going to ramp things up a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Gerhard Schroeder. Hohenzollern now is at 48.28%. We've got elections coming really soon. So we've got a monarchy now in the Czech Republic, which is kind of interesting. I don't have a national spirit to be able to create a faction. At some point, I'd like to be able to start creating a faction with maybe some of these other monarchies when I get that ability to do that. All right, we're into July 2002. I'm going to go ahead and stop my exercises at this point. A lot of my units are already fairly experienced, and I've got 26 in Army experience available to me right now, and I don't think I really need more than that. Just to kind of look at what I'm researching, I've got a fighter doctrine, or air doctrine. I've got a land doctrine going. I'm upgrading my signal companies and recon companies and modern offshore drilling. Construction-wise, I have already completed one of my tungsten factories. Now I'm working on the 2 chromium factories, and we'll just kind of keep that going so I can reduce what I need to trade for from other folks and just become a little more self-sufficient. Production-wise, I still have a big deficit when it comes to mechanized, so I'm trying to make up some of that and just really need more military factories to get all this stuff done. But we've got elections coming up in a couple of months. All right, so shortly before the elections could be held, the monarchists of our country have gathered the public support to successfully launch a coup against our government. They have crowned their monarch, took over the ministries, and now run the country. Long live the German Empire is reborn. And Georg Freidrich I is now our emperor. I guess Prussian glory was not necessary. All we had to do was hit 50% for the House of Hohenzollern. So it'll be curious to see how this affects things moving forward. It looks like now we can seek the friendship of some of the other monarchies in the area. I'm going to focus on the Czechs, just because historically there are some ties there anyway. So we're going to go ahead and seek Czech friendship. We'll seek the Dutch friendship. We'll seek Belgian friendship. All those kind of area monarchies, we'll focus on them a little bit. We'll go ahead and encourage Enlightenment values, which is going to give 4 base support. So we're up to 92% stability now, which improves my political power gain, my factory output. Things are looking up in the reborn German monarchy. Wait, what? Oh, okay, that's just saying the same thing, right? Yeah, okay. I thought it just immediately overthrew my government with another one. It was just another notification of the same thing. So, all right, so there we have it. I'm curious to see now what happens with the popularity. It's actually going back down to 49%. But, of course, there's no elections at this point, so we just want to try and find some way to improve that a little bit. Can we remove a person? Well, we can replace her, I guess. So let's do that. We're going to replace Angela Merkel. It's going to reduce my stability a little bit, but I'm hoping that will solve the problem. Yeah, there we go. Now we're still going down. So no matter what I do, popularity is going to drop back below 50%. I hope that doesn't affect things in a negative way for me, but I guess we'll see when it happens. All right, we're into September now of 2002. Actually, it's about my wedding day. The next day, I was married, September 7th, 2002. So happy wedding day to me. There we go. My wife and I are getting married today on the day that the Prussian glory and on the day that France falls to communism. So, wow, things are going crazy in Europe right now. We've got a communist Ukraine, a communist France now. We've got a German Empire. We've got a Czech kingdom. So, boy, things are changing fast and furious now. We're not going to go with Colonial Restoration League. We're going to go ahead now and turn our focus toward the foreign ministry, because obviously we need to be thinking about diplomacy with all of the things that are going down in the world right now. Boy, NATO, of all things, is just, things are not looking good there. Well, that's interesting. France is still part of NATO, and it's not showing communists. That's weird. A coup in Gambia. So maybe I missed something there. I thought that said that France had fallen to communism. All right. So I've got such a deficit of mechanized infantry needed. I'm going to actually remove some of the needed mechanized from my panzer brigades, and I'm actually going to add some more modern tanks to those and light tanks in their place. And that's going to pretty much use up the army experience that I have, but it should make things a little bit smoother as far as production. Now I just got to work on about half as many mechanized as I needed before. I'm just going to need more light tanks and battle tanks, but I needed those anyway. And I went back and looked at the video, and I guess what is happening with France is not that that headline was a little misleading where it said that they fell to communism. It just meant that their political leadership is taking them in that direction, but it certainly has not happened yet. In fact, their Communist Party is only at 8%, but let's see what's happening with, okay, there goes 9. So they are drifting toward communism, but it's going to be a while before the communists actually take over there. So we'll take this probably to the end of 2002 and see kind of where things stand at that point. I think that'll probably be a good stopping point for this episode. Okay, so the monarchist popularity is slightly going up now, so that's some good news. We see that improving, and that's the direction I want that to go. We're about to finish our restructure of the foreign ministry. There it is. Italy leaves NATO. The United Kingdom leaves NATO. NATO is in shambles right now. So, what's the direction we want to go? We can restore trust in the system, which gains base war support, and that really just doesn't look like anything I'm interested in. Political expertise, and then that's going to give us some different options here. Oh, and there is, we can create factions. That's where I want to be. All right. Let's go ahead and make that happen. And take a look now. NATO at this point is down to Turkey, Poland, Denmark. What do we got here? Norway, France, Spain, and Portugal. Wow. Oh, and of course the United States and Greenland and Iceland. So NATO is not what it once was. It creates the perfect vacuum into which the German Empire can come and create a new faction as soon as I allow myself to do that. But I desperately need to get my military. I've only got 22 divisions. That is not going to get me very far in dominating things in the world. So I've got to get moving on. I'm constructing more military factories. I'm going to queue up even more. I've got to really kind of get moving on that. So once I get to the place where I can create factions, I may go ahead and switch back over to, let's see here, let's do this, switch back over to national focus that allows me to speed up some more factories. We're going to kind of hang tight here for just a minute because I've got another research that I can change in just a minute, but wow. Really interesting how the world is starting to take shape with these changes. I'm curious to know what Russia's up to. There's Vladimir Putin, Path of the Bear. Let's see what that means. So he could have taken Path of the Eagle, which looks like he already did that actually. So I'll be curious to see which way he goes. He's focusing on diplomacy right now as well. All right. Happy 2003, where Germany is now a part of the UN Security Council for the next 730 days. That gives me a little daily political power gain boost, but I've got plenty of political power at the moment anyhow. So not a huge deal for me, at least until I get some more interesting decisions to make, which right now there really aren't any. So next thing that's going to happen, of course, is that I'm going to be working on faction as soon as political expertise is finished, and then I can choose international alliances. I don't think, these ones are not mutually exclusive, so I can choose this and then still go on these other routes as well. 2003, we've got political expertise, and we've got one more piece of the puzzle to work toward international alliances. There's a coup in Myanmar. There have been a lot of coups happening in a lot of those smaller nations here and there. So we're going to finish this up. That'll allow us to create factions. We'll see if we can create a faction, get some members, and we'll wrap this episode up at that point. All right, so one change I'm going to make here, we can go to early mobilization because I'm a monarchist now. Actually, I go all the way up to partial mobilization now. So I think that's probably the way to go. And it actually improves my desire for AIs to join my alliance as well. So let's see how that affects some things. That should definitely help out. Got a long way to go on my production, though. I got a lot of things that I need to get into the field. I did get another few divisions in the field. I'm up to 26 divisions now. But obviously the big thing coming for me is going to be international alliances here in just 5 more days. I'm excited about this. I'm hoping I've got some decent options as far as people I'm going to be able to invite into a new faction. Alright, let's take a look and see where we are on some of these things. I may be able to upgrade, Gen 4 attack planes. Alright. Alright, let's see what we can do, guys. I'm excited about this. International alliances complete. Alright, let's decide where we're going next. I think for the time being, we're going back over to our military buildup for a little while. Now, let's take a look. We're going to start with the Czechs, because they're a kingdom, they're a neighbor. Ah, come on. Got to have world tension at 50%. It's only at 15. So, hold that excitement, I guess. Yeah, I'm not going to be in a place where I can do that because of being a monarchist. In Belgium, of course, it needs world tension at 100%. So, all right. So much for that. So we're going to go the London Pact. So what are they now? They're Social Democrats. That's interesting. So they have created their own new kind of thing. And is anybody else a part of that right now? So they are a faction unto themselves, I guess. The state of Australia. So they're nationalists. All right, so that's cool. All right, we're going to wrap up right there. As always, I welcome any and all input, observations, questions, criticisms you might have. Make this as interactive as possible. Love to hear what you think about what I should do moving forward. And go ahead and just use the comment section below for that. If you want to see more from this series, please hit that thumbs up. And you can hit the notification, the little bell there, and that'll let you know whenever I upload a new video and make it live. And as always, if you have not subscribed already, please consider doing that. And we will see you again probably in a few more days with the next episode in this series. In the meantime, check out some of the other things I have going. Thanks for watching.